Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for tuning in today. My name is Rina, and I'm from SGInnovate. For those who don't know us, we are a government-owned organization in Singapore that invests and helps build deep tech startups, talent, and communities. At SGInnovate, our work involves connecting with the deep tech ecosystem, working with entrepreneurial scientists to bring that innovative research from web to market, as well as developing deep tech talent. Today's event, Empowering an Inclusive Digital Future with 5G, is brought to you by Singtel and co-organized by SGInnovate. Today, we have an amazing panel of speakers who will be able to share with you more about the Singtel Future Makers program and the experience participating in it. I'd like to encourage the audience to share their thoughts and questions by using the Q&A box below. And now, with no further ado, I'll pass the time over to Enyao from Singtel. Over to you, Enyao.
Thank you, Rina and SGInnovate for the kind introduction and for inviting us to share about Singtel Future Makers. I'm Enyao from Singtel. Today, we'll be sharing on how our program is looking to support startups with 5G-enabled technology that can make a positive impact in the social sector. We'll share how startups like yourself can also benefit from the program. And you'll get to hear also from alumni startups in our ecosystem about their program experience. So we'll kick off this session by first inviting Andrew Bui, Vice President, Group Sustainability Singtel, to share some opening remarks. Andrew, please.
Thank you, Enyao, and very good afternoon, every of our partners here. All the startups have joined us today. So thank you for your interest in Singtel Future Makers and joining us for this engagement session, which we've organized in partnership with SGInnovate to learn more about our plans for this year. Now, you might be wondering why Singtel has been so involved in the social innovation ecosystem, or we've been so keen to work with startups. Because at Singtel, our purpose is to empower every generation. This is both people and businesses. And we do want to create a more sustainable digital future. And we do believe that the world is a better place when technology is used to help people and businesses communicate and connect. So to this end, Singtel Future Makers, our social innovation program, is a living example of how we as a company can activate our purpose to create long-term sustainable value for our stakeholders, and how this program helps to empower our communities to use technology for social good. And also, given our ICT capabilities and product technology, the Singtel Group is well placed to support and mentor the startups. We do work with partners to catalyze go-to-market opportunities and build a social innovation ecosystem to accelerate the startup's growth. Since 2016 and across the region, we have invested over 5 million Singapore dollars to support about 72 local and regional social impact startups. And we continue to support our alumni startups to help them scale. We're also very delighted to see many have gone on to raise subsequent funding, including venture capital, and some have also expanded successfully across the region. Now, my colleague Enyao, he'll elaborate a bit more about the Singtel Future Maker 2022 themes. And you'll also hear from our alumni startups, including Kunchi from Caption Cube, Janine from Soft Education, Kevin from TicTac, on how we aim to cultivate a social innovation ecosystem to support the startups. And thank you very much to all of our alumni who's joined us today. So finally, the Singtel Future Makers program would not be possible without the support of our community partners. I would really like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to SGInnovate for their strong support and partnership in this engagement session. So we do hope you find the session a helpful one to understand the ethos behind the program. And we look forward to receiving all your applications. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. And over back to you, Enyao.
Thank you, Andrew, for the opening remarks. In this next segment, I will share more about this year's Singtel Future Maker program and how can startups be a part of this journey. Like Rina mentioned, if you have any question, do post it on the Q&A tab and we will answer them later. So next slide, please. As earlier mentioned by Andrew, Singtel as a digital service provider and aligned with our purpose, we believe in leveraging our digital connectivity service, ICT capability, product technology to empower our communities to an inclusive and sustainable digital future. In particular, when we talk about digital connectivity, we cannot escape the buzz about 5G. And you might have seen this Straits Times article recently where we announced that 95% outdoor coverage of 5G in Singapore. With the advent of 5G deployment now a reality, you might be wondering, why does it matter? Why does 5G matter? What is this buzz all about? And also, how can it help to empower all communities? To answer this question, next slide, we will need to go back a bit into history to understand how digital connectivity has evolved in the last 20 years. Back in 2005, before 3G was introduced, mobile phones were a lot simpler and more basic. As you remember, back then I was still in secondary school and my first mobile phone was Nokia 6610. And every one of my classmates was like playing bounce under their desk during classes, trying to see who can complete all the levels. So mobile phones were a lot more basic at that time. And during that time also, we started to see 3G being introduced. And one of the new functionality you see is video calls. And video calls were back then going at about 10 cents per minute. And so understandably, take-up was still a bit slow. Then gradually, we started to see more substantial adoption of 3G with the launch of the first iPhone and all the apps that come along with it. Then Android came along with its open source mobile platform, which further enhanced the popularity of using apps and increases the use of what we can do with our mobile phones. And this is the period where we also start to see, the emergence of WhatsApp and Facebook, which we all use today. Things started to change a bit more rapidly after 2012, when we launched 4G service. With much faster bandwidth, people now started using mobile phones in ways they have never used before. In fact, this is the period where people started complaining that there is never enough data, myself included. Why? Because we can do so much more using our phones powered by 4G. We can buy groceries through RedMart, stream music and videos through Spotify, YouTube. Ride-hailing apps like, Uber, Grab became so popular. And we even started using the word cloud in a very different way beyond the one thing floating in the sky, Yeah, and of course, video calls are now so ubiquitous and it's even free compared to, back in 2005. So in a span of less than 20 years, we have seen such rapid innovation in the way we work, play, and live. And all of this were enabled through 3G and 4G network. Today, in 2022, with 95% outdoor coverage of 5G, will we see another revolution in the way we work, live, and play? Perhaps things might pan out differently from what happened in 3 and 4G. However, our past experience with rapid innovation enabled by 3 and 4G gives us the confidence that the same might happen with 5G too. Next slide, please. So you might be asking and wondering, how is 5G then different from 4G? So let me just cover 3 main differences. There's definitely more than that. But in summary, first, 5G has much higher bandwidth. 4G runs at 100 to 200 Mbps per second, while 5G can go up to 1 gigabyte Mbps per second. Second, 5G has much lower latency. 4G reacts within 100 milliseconds, while 5G reacts within 1 to 5 milliseconds. This means everything is ultra responsive, there's no lag, everything is virtual, happens instantaneously. Third, 5G has much denser connection. Per square kilometers, 5G can connect to 10 times more applications and devices. So why does denser connection matters, you might be thinking? I'm sure many of you will experience, the extreme mobile service lag during New Year days Eve, where everyone's sending well wishes to each other, and you take like 10 minutes to receive your messages, or rather to send through your messages. We will see much less of such lags with 5G, with more applications being able to connect to the network. Because of these 3 attributes of higher bandwidth, lower latency, denser connection, we see 5G enabling more technological innovation just as 3G and 4G has done so. Moreover, we see 5G extending connections even beyond smartphones. We will be looking at connecting between autonomous vehicles, smart utilities, factories, hospitals, and many more. So we're really looking at a new future where everything is connected, aware, and responsive. In Singapore, next slide, please. We are slowly starting to ramp up on 5G-enabled use cases. For instance, Singtel launched the 5G at Sentosa testbed last year. This was in partnership with multiple government agencies, including the GovTech and Sentosa Development Corporation. Around 15 5G-enabled live trials in the area of environment, transport, tourism are slated to run in the Sentosa testbed by the end of this year. And you can see in the slide here, there are some examples of some of the 5G-enabled use case that's happening right now in Sentosa. Next slide, please. So amid the next slide. Amid the hype of 5G use cases in different industries, what we do then see is that 5G as an enabler for new technologies and opportunities to create social impact in our communities to be less mentioned. In fact, we think that this is an opportunity that we can dive into. A white paper released by the World Economic Forum in collaboration with PwC found that 5G can deliver social value across 11 key areas in the context of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So similar to the white paper, we believe that 5G's benefit should be enjoyed by all, including the underserved and the social sector. Next slide. So in order to accelerate this process of diffusing the value of 5G, we need to cultivate an ecosystem of partners and use cases to drive adoption. This is where we see startups like yourself come into the picture. We see the natural synergies of startups coming to work with us to realize the social impact of 5G. Startups being more nimble, innovative, and they can respond quicker to the needs on the ground with digital solutions would be helpful. At the same time, social impact can be scaled when startups tap on corporate assets like our brand, market access, expertise to further expand their outreach of solutions. So this is where the Singtel Future Maker program comes in, because we aim to be the nexus that brings both the social impact startup and our company together to realize these natural synergies and also diffuse the social value of 5G-enabled technologies. Next slide. So for this year, we're looking to support startups that seek to leverage of suitable for leveraging on 5G-enabled technologies to create social impact in the areas of education, caregiving, and disability. So these are overlapping areas and would align with the work done in the social sector. Next slide. These areas were chosen as we see the potential of using 5G to enhance digital solutions to create social impact. And some of this social impact could be through improving accessibility to critical services with better connectivity, or it could be enhancing the quality of life through immersive digital experience, or it could be indirectly by elevating the manpower crunch that we see in the social sector through improved productivity. In fact, we have noticed emerging 5G-enabled hypotheses and use cases in education, caregiving, disability that could be applied in Singapore today. Next slide. So in the education sector, 5G-enabled robots has the potential to bridge school distance learning in school learning barriers in Denmark. This robot is especially useful for students who are unable to attend school because of disabilities or even medical condition. So the extreme low latency and fast speed and high bandwidth of 5G means that the robot can move anywhere around the school and stream activities live virtually, so the students at home do not miss out on any school activities. Next slide. So in the caregiving sector, that's where we see virtual reality goggles are used to simulate the experience of a person living with dementia in Singapore. So this was piloted in Singapore Institute of Technology, and this aims to equip healthcare professionals, caregivers with real-life knowledge of the debilitating condition and teaching how to offer empathetic response after going through the VR training. So in this use case, right, it's more of us seeing the possibility of 5G actually improving the user experience of using VR. So, when you use VR, you experience, a bit of motion sickness. Those are because the slight lag that you feel. And with 5G's lower latency and higher bandwidth, we expect to see that motion sickness they experience without using it to go away. And this would then improve the usability and the user experience of VR. Next slide. In the disability sector, one possibility that we see is that people who are blind or have low vision can benefit from digital solutions that provide live or on-demand information for navigation purposes. For instance, IRA, it's an app in America, allows users to get real-time information through their mobile phone or smart glasses. They can also be connected with human agents at the back end to provide real-time guidance. So this is where 5G's low latency and high bandwidth will allow for seamless transmission of on-demand information, whether they are in an airport, grocery store, or walking in a park or in the city. So we hope that this gives you a sense of some of the social impact use cases made possible by a faster and more responsive and a denser network like 5G. The possibilities are definitely not limited to these use cases. And that's why we are opening up this application to hear your ideas, of what else we can do to create social impact through 5G-enabled technologies. Next slide, please. So having covered on the possibilities, I'll now switch gears to share, what can startups expect from our program. So this year, we are selecting up to 3 startups and committing up to 50,000 per startup to incubate 5G-enabled solutions related to the program team. We will also provide a curated capacity building program that comprises of technical guidance by Singtel experts and also pitch coaching sessions to fine-tune your social and value proposition. So our Singtel colleagues will walk through with you, whether is it the possibility to even integrate 5G into your business case. Finally, there will be access to networking and regional collaboration opportunities with community partners, business leaders, and potential investors to scale your solution. We believe that your 5G-enabled solution should receive greater exposure and scale to more communities in Singapore and the region to further your impact. Who are we then looking for? We're looking for startups that, number one, offer a digital solution that aligns with the program team. Next, solutions should tap on 5G-enabled technologies or seek to leverage on it to digitally enable the community. Interested startups should also demonstrate strong commitment to a social cause or social mission, because that's really the aim, to diffuse the benefits to the social sector. And finally, startups with a minimum value product or have received seed funding are encouraged to apply. So what do we expect from the startups who join the program? So we expect active involvement of at least one team member in all key activities, mentoring, and networking events. Next slide. So as mentioned, it will take an ecosystem to realize the social impact potential of 5G, and therefore we believe in the power of cross-sector collaboration. So as part of the program, you get a chance to partner with social service agencies to trial your 5G-enabled technology that can benefit the social sector. So what we'll do is we will match your 5G-enabled solution with the suitable agency so that we can demonstrate more positive use cases of your technology. Next slide. So the call for application is from now to 30th July. So I understand that 30th July is only one day away. But if you need more time, just drop us an email where we will share it later, and we can extend it by a day or two, or we can see how else we can work around it. Thereafter, we will evaluate and select suitable applicants. So all shortlisted applicants will go through a panel interview session with Singtel and its community partners. The curated capacity building program will start from late August to October, and this will end with a pitch day in early November. So selected startups will get a chance to share their 5G for social impact proposals or solutions with Singtel business units, impact investors, and potential partners who will attend the pitch day. Next slide. And this is not the end of our program, because what we will also do is we will facilitate regional expansion and networking opportunities in Asia-Pacific region for suitable startups after our local program in 2022. So we'll select the super startups for Singtel Group Future Makers 2023, a regional social innovation program in collaboration with major telcos like Airtel, AIS, Globe, Optus, and Telkomsel. So this will be a great opportunity for you also to pitch and secure additional funding to scale your 5G-enabled solutions to regional market where Singtel Group operates, like Australia, Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia, and India. So back in 2021, last year, we actually brought along 20 of our alumni startups from each of the local programs in the respective countries to collaborate on potential regional expansion and partnership opportunities that address the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 3, good health and well-being, Sustainable Development Goal 8, decent work and economic growth, and also Goal 10, reduce inequalities. So watch this space as we will continue to monitor the progress of our 2022 startups and facilitate similar expansion and regional networking opportunities where suitable. Next slide. So this concludes my short overview on the program. As mentioned, if you have any further questions, we have set aside about 20 minutes to answer them. If you want to find out more information, you can go onto our website at futuremakers.singtel.com, scan the QR code on the right, or drop us an email at sustainability@singtel.com. So I'll just pause here for a while if you can go to our website if you want to. Okay, next up, can we go to the next slide? So having heard a lot from me about the program, we thought that it would be good to also hear from our Singtel Future Maker alumni about their experience. So today we have a few of our alumni back with us today. So today we have Janine from Soft Education, who attended our 2017 program. We have Kunchi from Caption Cube, who was part of our 2016 program, and Kevin from TikTok, who attended our 2020 program. So let me just give a broad overview on what they do. So Soft Education works with education and technology experts to create educational game app, which aims to develop students' hunger for learning and prepares them for the workforce. So it's really a non-profit tech startup that we're supporting. So Caption Cube is a social enterprise that provides premium video captioning, subtitling, transcription, and translation services to the media and education sector. And finally, for TikTok, they use their gamified AI data labeling services to provide people with a source of income and also provide them a way to learn new skills. So with that, I will then pass on the time to Janine. So Janine, you can take over and just to share more about, why do you join the program, how do you benefit, and also share some, post-program engagement that you have gone through.
Thank you, Anyel. So hi, everyone, and thank you for having me. So as to why we joined the program, basically because the audience that Soft Education is aiming to serve, who are mainly the marginalized youth community around the world who do not have access to quality education, right? So their first technology that they will come in contact with is mainly mobile. So that's why we thought Singtel with its network or associate mobile operators around the region would be a very strategic partner. So I think that's number one, why we joined the program. And in terms of how we benefited, really, what I found, my experience with the Singtel Future Maker program is that it's really very robust. It's not just, focusing only on capacity building or looking. The whole program includes really opportunities to network to not only in Singapore, but also, we are linked up with Telkomsel in Indonesia, or Airtel in India, etc. And on top of that, the mentorship part of it, me and my team really appreciated a lot as well. And it's not only just a one-time engagement too. Our experience with Singtel has been a multi-year. In fact, I still have coaching sessions with Andrew like last month, right? So it's been really, really beneficial to us. And in terms of post-program engagement, I think I already touched on that. And my cohort of Singtel Future Makers, we are still really close, and I think it was sadly COVID prevented us to see each other face to face, but we do have gatherings and still exchange ideas and support each other. So yeah, I think that will be all from me.
Thank you, Janine. Yeah, so just to
you.
recap, I think they really saw the importance of, networking with other partners beyond the region. And I think Jenny also mentioned that, we provide mentorship and guidance even after the end of the program. So that's the things that you can expect. So next up, we can invite Kunchi from Caption Cube. So Kunchi, please.
Okay, hi everyone. So Caption Cube was addressing the problem of lack of access for the deaf and hard of hearing community. So we wanted to improve accessibility for them for situations such as online learning, seminars, or even in the theaters. So back in 2016, the term social entrepreneurship was something new, and Singtel Future Makers was one of the few programs in Singapore that focus on supporting startups that are looking to make a social impact through funding and a network of partners. So we gave it a shot. So we were very privileged to be part of the inaugural group. And since then, our team has evolved to include persons with physical disabilities and autism, so we focus our social mission on inclusive employment. And how do I benefit? I think overall, Singtel Future Makers provided a very encouraging environment and ecosystem. They gave us a lot of room to try and fail, and of course, find success formulas. There were a lot of workshops on entrepreneurship and social impact that were organized for us, and they touch on topics such as theory of change, which definitely help us in the long run in terms of knowledge and to support us in the social impact that we're looking to create. So we also tested some of our ideas around live captioning, and they gave us the platforms to test them. So back then, we were not ready. Our accuracy level was horrible, but Singtel Future Makers just said, okay, why don't you just try it at our workshop? It's okay, we'll just try. So there was a lot of encouragement in the whole program. And I was linked to my mentor, Jeff Kwan, who became a strong pillar of support for me over the years. We were on the verge of giving up at one point, but he encouraged us to give one last shot. And then he introduced us to someone who became our key client in the past 5 years. So I really appreciated how the many things in the program came together and helped us. It was just not one person, it was a lot of people who were aligned in the same direction. That's to build business sustainability and create social impact. So fast forward to COVID period, we saw the opportunity in live streaming. So I also wanted to create more job opportunities for the persons with disabilities who work for us. So Singtel Future Makers was very kind to provide some funding for us to test that out. So that was one of the post-program engagement. I think it gave our team a lot of exposure, gave our persons with disabilities more confidence in terms of presenting in front of a live audience. And the other thing that happened was they also linked us up with other social enterprise, such as virtual psychologists in Australia. And that gave my team a lot of support during the COVID period when mental wellness was an issue, as everyone get a bit isolated at home and had a lot of different issues to face. So thank you very much. I hope my sharing helped.
Okay. Yeah, so thank you, Kunchi, for the very kind words. I think maybe we just want to add on also is that I think for this year, what we recognize that each startup is at a different place. So when you come on board, we will first understand what are your needs, and then we will then go back to our networks or our partners to see what are some of the support that we can provide. So it's really on demand, and it's not something that you'll be just like trusted upon you. So that also attests to what Kunchi mentioned, that we really hope to understand where you are and also support you on this journey. So thank you, Kunchi. So next up we have Kevin from TikTok.
Sure. Yeah. Hi everyone. Thanks so much for having me. So I think the way that we started out in the first place is obviously we're a lot more junior than the other two companies here. So we're the 2020 batch. And I think by then, we already knew that Singtel Future Makers is really one of the premier social enterprise accelerator kind of programs that we're able to enter into already. So I think by then it was definitely something that we wanted to participate in, given our goal of really leaving a social impact, as well as the fact that of course Singtel is really mobile is really the enabler of our technology in the first place, because we're app-based and we really require a fast internet connection speed as well. So that's something that we really recognize as, we definitely want to be in this one in order for us to work very closely with Singtel as well. Yeah, so I think SFM has really walked the talk in bringing us very close to the SSOs that we wanted to work with as well. Near the start of the entire program, we had a lot of great chances to meet with a couple of very strong mentors with good input and marketing in terms of marketing and branding for us. So that was extremely valuable for us because like back in 2020, of course, when we were first starting out, there were a lot of things that we didn't know, didn't understand about how to go about setting up the business in such a way that we could really leave the maximum impact. And it was through like our experiences with the mentorship that Singtel Future Makers provided, as well as even networking with the other startups in the cohort. That was really valuable to us in understanding, hey, this is some of the metrics that we needed to advance as well. And even beyond that, we managed to participate in a couple of programs that SFM arranged for us that helped us to understand, okay, I think like as Kunzi mentioned, what's our theory of change, right? And how do we measure like how much social impact that we're actually creating as well. Yeah, so through the program this year, you've got potentially 50K in funding. Back in our time, we used our funding to carry out a really meaningful POC with one of the senior activity centers here in Singapore as well. So again, I think SFM really like walked the talk in terms of like helping us to provide a lot of value to the people that we want to benefit. And beyond that, also there were a number of pitch days. I think even prior to entering the program, if I'm not wrong. And these pitch days, not just in prior to entering the program, but also during the program itself, was really fantastic. It helped us to connect with even more SSOs that we could generate new potential partnerships with. And in some of them also, we managed to meet potential customers as well. Yeah. Moving on to the Singtel Group Future Makers round, I think as Anyao mentioned, it was also fantastic for us because, I mean, previously we were working mostly in Singapore. The moment we went on to the Group Future Makers round, it suddenly like kind of opened our eyes to the rest of what we're doing around the region and with the rest of like the Singtel Group partners, which actually also managed to expose us to a number of companies that shared similarities with us. They didn't necessarily do exactly the same thing that we did, but really provided a lot of insight as to how we could work together as well. So like with some of these companies, we still maintain contact to this day. In fact, like a couple of days back, one of the companies that we met at Singtel Group Future Makers actually reached out again and said, hey, Kevin, why don't we work on this thing together? So that was really fantastic like thing for me because like, oh, you know, even months later, we're still keeping in contact and we're still finding ways to work together. He even remembered that, you know, we discussed once before as well. Yeah, and lastly, I think Andrew and Yao and the entire SFM team has been always ever supportive of everything that we do. You know, they even helped to respond to a super last minute request that we had, and that we'll always be grateful for also. So hopefully that was helpful to everybody. We're just glad to be here as well.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin, for the kind words. And I think one thing we really believe in is that to create an ecosystem, and hopefully the startups will collaborate and partner with each other. And so, Kevin, very heartened to hear that you are still keeping in contact after the Singtel Group Future Makers last year. And given the fact it was all virtual, so it was really amazing how that you all also, you know, work with the same mindset and the same heart, you know, towards certain problems and issue. And also the other thing that I think Kevin also touched on is, you know, we increase accessibility to social service agency. I think that also points us to the fact that, you know, we want to, you know, diffuse some of this technology to the social impact sector because we find that, you know, adoption is not as great as we want to be. So what we will do is we will do the matching and the pairing between you and a suitable social service agency that might benefit from your service. And I think the benefit from this then is that, you know, you have the possibility of, you know, testing, you know, your use case in environment that is safe, and you can also get quick and fast user feedback. So thank you once again. Thank you, Janine. Thank you, Kunchi, and thank you, Kevin, for even sharing your experience. So if you do join us a program, you will definitely get an opportunity to network with like-minded partners like them. So now, moving on to the Q&A segment. So happy to answer any questions about Singtel Future Makers program. So do post it on the Q&A tab or the chat box. So right now I see one question. I think Ramana said that, can we have more time? Yes, I mentioned that you can have a bit more time. So just drop me an email at sustainability@singtel.com and we will take note of that. But yes, we will give everyone a bit more time because we understand that one day is not a lot of time to fill out the application form. So I think Ramana also has another question on saying that we are developing novel hardware development for 5G application and wish to submit application. I think you also had an earlier question of, how do you support novel hardware development for 5G applications? So our approach this year is to work very closely with our 5G enterprise team. So our 5G enterprise team actually has a whole suite of services from, getting awareness of, what are some of the 5G possibilities through the Future Now Innovation Center. Then they'll move on to the Center of Digital Excellence, where they conduct business discovery workshop that matches, business problems with, 5G capabilities. And this is also a safe space, to test, to ideas, on how to integrate 5G. And let's say if this really works out and we do see the business case and the feasibility of integrating 5G, then you can even move on to the 5G Garage, which is a collaboration between Singtel, Ericsson, and Singapore Polytechnic. So it's a live test facility where, you can test your 5G solutions over there. And just also earlier mentioned about the 5G at Sentosa test bed. So if there is also alignment with, the tourism industry, transport, environment, we can also make that link or link up with, 5G at Sentosa test bed, and perhaps you can also test your 5G-enabled digital solutions in those areas too. So these are some of the possibilities that you can look forward to. So just to look at the chat, so Jungle says that yes, correct. So our email is at sustainability@singtel.com. So any other questions, you can just post it on the chat or the Q&A. So maybe just give a few more minutes just to hear for any questions. If not, you can also email us at sustainability@singtel.com and I will just put the email there. So you can email us any questions and we'll reply them as soon as possible. I think if no further questions, I would then return the time back to you guys so that you can have your lunch if you haven't had so. So you can find out more information on the Future Makers program at our website, futuremakers.singtel.com, or get in touch with us through our email at sustainability@singtel.com. Or you can also scan the QR code, that leads you to our website. Okay, so thank you everyone once again for joining us for this session. We hope that this gives you a sense of what is our program about, what are some of the 5G enabled possibilities that can create social impact. And we hope that you join us in this journey to create social impact in the sector. And also thank you once again to Rina and the SGInnovate team for your strong partnership and support and for also organizing this session. So thank you and goodbye.